for showing up for this final panel of the technical sessions for CCA this year. Definitely appreciate you guys showing up for the last day. Our topic today is going to be looking at the cloud. The official title is On Board or Left Behind. So we'll get some insight into that space. Joining me today on the panel, well, I'm Dan Meyer, Editor-in-Chief of RCR Wireless News. Joining me today with the actual information will be Rob Riordan, who I think most of you guys probably know or seen Rob at one point or another at these shows. He is Executive Vice President and Director of Corporate Development at Cellcom, a carrier based up out of the Green Bay, Wisconsin area. And also Andreea Timberlake, who is VP and CTO of U.S. Region's Broadband and Media Accounts for Ericsson North America. So we've got a good mix here, I think, of a carrier to provide some insight into the cloud, what it means for rural carriers and the opportunities there for carriers, and also from Andreea too on kind of the technical aspects or some partnership potentials when it comes to rolling out cloud services. So with that, like I said earlier, we'll keep this pretty concise. I'll have Rob come up and give a quick intro, get his point of view on cloud and where we're at with that, and then we'll have Andreea come up to do the same, and then we'll a few questions, and then maybe some Q&A if we have time, and then run to the door. So Rob, please come on up.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. For those who don't know me, I am a quiet, shy Irishman from Pulaski, Wisconsin. Not used to public speaking, but if you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn. We're actually a carrier located in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Cellcom is our company's name. We're very active in the arena. We've been around for 25 years, and we've sold everybody that ever wanted a phone. So we have a problem. What do you do beyond that? Now, that's not quite true. Obviously, we're selling more, but we've all seen the numbers going down. We've seen that we're not seeing the double digits as far as new ads. So we have to look at new revenue opportunities and how we're going to do that. Now, how many of you have recently been into a Verizon store? Oh, you got it. Okay, we got 3 or 4. If you haven't, you got to go there. It's an amazing thing to go into. They don't sell service anymore. Well, they do, but that's kind of a sideline. I mean, if you want to get, I've got this right here, by the way. This is a Fitbit. It talks to my cell phone. It tells my cell phone how many steps I've taken, how many stairs I've gone up. It will tell me how many calories I have burned. It's an intriguing type of device, by the way, that also ties into my scale at home and tells me how much I weigh. Then sends it to the world over the cloud. So www, no, I'm only kidding. But I mean, it does. My entire family now is checking up on me and sees we've got a competition going on as to who's going to do it. Verizon sells those in the store. The information is in the cloud. They also, if you lose your dog, you've got a dog collar you can buy there, and so put that on there. Hopefully, before you lose them, a little harder to find them afterwards. But you can do that. You've got situations where if you're looking at healthcare, well, you can get all the monitoring stuff you need if you've got somebody that's at home. They can get safe alert type things and send it back. Again, you can buy that in the store. You want to turn your lights on and off? Hey, they've got that. You can plug in, turn your lights on and off, and plug something in at home, and now you're controlling all of that from your phone. All of these things require a back end, but they do the old Apple trick, which is keep it simple, stupid. They make it so easy to use that even the dumbest of us can use it. And it's the cloud that makes this all work. So if you want to be in competition and you want to have an opportunity to grow forward, you need to find new business opportunities. And one of the biggest ones that we've looked at is cloud services. Now, there are 2 types of cloud services you can get into. There's the local one, and then there's the national ones. And you've got your Acme out there, and you've got your Amazon. And don't just say, well, we're too small to play with those guys. Because in reality, Amazon and Acme are very interested in putting a server very close to the consumer. They would love to put something, an edge server, in your location so that they don't have to haul it back and forth all over the place. You want to do that too, because you certainly don't want to use your backhaul for their traffic, and you can get a little bit of money out of these things. They do deals with other people too, so you can get your Netflix and otherwise. But why are we really that interested in it? Well, do you realize that it just came back from the Cable Television Association meeting, and they are telling us that the second screen is extremely important. So what is the second screen? And somebody made a comment that it's screen in. Well, no, you only really can have 2 screens. The second screen is the one that's in your lap. It may be a computer, it might be a laptop, or it's the device in your lap while you're watching TV. 60% of the people watching TV today have that second screen in their hands. And what are they doing? They're looking up information in the cloud. They're looking to see, who was the actor who did this? And what is the other information that's out there? Or they might be doing something really strange. And one of the things that we're also talking about is local caching. This kind of ties into it. Let's say you go to a football game at your high school. They might have 3 or 4 cameras sitting in that game that the coach is using to capture all the video, and so that they can then use it to share with other people to see what's going on. It's very easy to take that video and put it into a broadcast type mode, send it out to each of the kind of storage devices at the local area. Well, why not make that available to the people going to the game? Either a college game, whether it be a tier 1 game all the way down to Division 3. Have that available on a server at the location, and then somebody at the game is simply clicking on it and say, I want to see the camera from the end zone. Click, and now I'm watching the game from the end zone. Click, I want to look at this camera from here. Is that really far away, and are they actually going to cache this stuff? You bet they are. Verizon has an initiative working both with Alcatel and with Ericsson, where they're taking video and they're going to broadcast it. They're going to, what they call, I can't think of the right term, it's not broadcasts. They're going to basically use one channel that's going to have simultaneously go to everybody's phone, and they can watch something that's going on in the venue. Qualcomm is developing a chip that will be here next year, so it's kind of service, putting a cloud locally at the venue. Now you don't have to go back over the network to get it. What are some of the other services we're looking at? Well, we're looking at the idea that we want to take a look at things like push-to-talk. We want to look at some of these type of features that are rich communication services. We want to have those. The question is, while we want to do all those things, can we afford to do them? And quite frankly, I can't. I can't build all that infrastructure in. But if I can buy it incrementally from the cloud, then I've got to sort of take it off of my customer and I can make myself stand apart. So those are the things that I want to kind of cue things up a little bit with it, make you think about it. The idea, something I've said many years, and it's interesting, I picked this up somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but I like to quote it, it's organizations exist to do collectively what we cannot do individually. That plays in very well here. The cloud exists to do collectively what we cannot do individually, so we have to take advantage of it. By the way, I did look that up on the Google it once to try to figure out who had actually said that, and I went through and I found out that the only place they can attribute it to is me, so something. Circle the logic, I'm not sure. Thank you.
Now, Andreea, come up to kind of give a perspective from the service provider perspective, from Ericsson's perspective on cloud services. So.
Okay, good morning. Just kind of put a slide here as a background talk. How many of you were at the cloud keynote yesterday? Okay, good. The focus there was more on business models, and today we're going to add some technical aspects to it. And my opening statement is going to have a networks flavor to it, because I'm with Ericsson. We're very much networks people. But what is cloud? And what are the cloud services? So here's my view of the world in this respect. To consumers, cloud is everything. Everything is in the cloud or on a phone. There's pretty much nothing else. To operators and vendors like ourselves, cloud is about business models to solve problems and or create opportunities. And then to innovators, cloud is about new paradigms, it's about new technologies, new architectures, and a bazillion buzzwords. But there's a common goal here with cloud and cloud services. The idea is to allow users to benefit from these new paradigms and new technologies without the need for them to acquire deep knowledge in any of them. Again, about networks. We talk about quality of service and quality of experience. We've been talking for many, many years in the wireless domain about that. With the networks getting so crowded, over-the-top applications in abundance, There's a huge focus on quality of experience for smartphone users. And at the same time, operators are looking for new revenue. Rob talked about that quite a bit. So what I want to put forward to you today is that the fact that the network and the cloud need to evolve in harmony. They cannot be disjointed going forward. Cloud is not a new concept. You all know infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Amazon, Google, IBM, HP, et cetera, have all of the above or some of these. Cloud is not new, networks are not new, but going forward to achieve these common goals, they need to evolve together. And last but not least, networks. Our view, at least our view in Ericsson, is that networks need to change the cloud. So I'm going to put forward to you a couple of technical concepts here. One being that of a network-enabled cloud. So what is that about? It sounds like a mouthful, but it's really kind of, giving the ability to every node in the network to host applications, processing close to data consumption and data generation, and Rob spoke about that as well, and building telecom-grade performance. A lot of the early, cloud services like Amazon, for example, they have a certain quality of service, but they don't have that telecom-grade performance that the networks that you're building and you're managing require. And the second technical concept I wanted to put forward to you in this network cloud evolution is that of software-defined networking. And why is that required? It's for end-to-end elasticity, to allow applications to get bandwidth and to get policies where they need it and when they need it to create this harmonized evolution. So today, these are the aspects that I hope to touch upon during the questions. Thank you.
All right, so with that as a bit of an overview, we have a few questions here. We want to kind of touch on some of those topics. When it comes to cloud, obviously, a lot of rural carriers, the ability to have local cloud is pretty important. Kind of as Rob mentioned, to be able to kind of take advantage of a rural carrier's unique interaction with their customers provides that perhaps a unique opportunity for cloud services for a rural carrier. Rob, I guess provide some more detail on the importance of that aspect of the cloud. Again, cloud is seen by a lot of people perhaps as being something for larger companies, for larger carriers, and that doesn't work for them as well. But it seems like from a rural carrier's perspective, you guys can really tap into providing that localized content for your customers that those big guys are just going to gloss over, at least initially. At some point they might get into it, but how does that advantage for rural carriers go to anything more local?
Oh, absolutely. There are more and more people creating content on a regular basis. It's amazing what you see. If you take a look at YouTube, you can see that without any question. There's constantly stuff being created. The problem we have, the more rural we are, the further back we have to go on the network to get that information. So why send it all the way back to YouTube to get it? Why not get it to a closer base? Why not tap into the local people? We know them better than anybody else. I'm good friends with Dale Mitchell. Dale is the chief engineer of one of our local TV stations. Dale came to me after NEB and he said, Rob, the Quad Cities guys, transmitter went down and it opened my eyes. And I said, well, how was that? He said, well, Quad Cities lost their transmitter, went down to 3 watts worth of power. So here they are trying to broadcast their signal to everybody, and they went down to 3 watts. But the people who did get it were the cable TV guys, and Dish, and DirecTV. They all got their signal. He said at the end of the day, 97% of his customer base had video at home. They could watch his channel. He only lost 3% of his base after his transmitter had gone down. So he said, Rob, you're my delivery mechanism. You're the way I'm going to reach my customers. I'm going to do programming, and we need to sit down and talk about how you can get my signal to my customers. And it's not only the second screen, but in some cases the first screen. I was over in Korea recently, and I sat in a Starbucks, watched an LTE on a small cell pumping 60 megabits of signal down to the phones and allowing 30 megabits upstream in a Starbucks. Everybody was watching video. why not make that video local? Why not take advantage of the broadcasters in your area? Why not get together with the high school kids that are producing things? A cache is very cheap, and if you can put that local cloud in, you now have an added value service. One of the services we're offering is we have what we call a varsity app. Now, we're the only ones that offer it, but the varsity app gives you every single high school score in the state of Wisconsin. It also tells you about each of the kids that are playing and their stats. So if you're watching and you're playing another team next week, you can look at it and see who their best players are, what their stats are. If your kid's in there, you can see what yours is. It's huge in our area. Well, if this is a big piece and people really enjoy it, how much more would they be excited about being able to see their high school football team and watch the plays on their phone at another time? If you're caching that, working with the schools, you've got something that's golden in our area and each one of your areas, small towns. You know how important it is for the local high schools.
Well, I mean, Andrew, can you, I guess, provide their perspective on it? I mean, is it difficult to convince some small carriers at this point of the benefits that Rob's talking about? I mean, obviously, you know, these small carriers can really tap into that local market. I mean, are you seeing at this point that small carriers aren't quite sure if they're ready for that? I mean, I guess, what are the other technical challenges for them, or is it more of a mental challenge at this point to make that commitment to going to the cloud, to maybe tap into the different revenue streams that are available there?
Yeah, so, you know, everybody needs to monetize their assets, whatever those assets are, right? Tier 1s, 2s, and 3s. You know, the Tier 3s invest in basic networks, right? The radio, the core, the OSS, they got the buildings, so they need to monetize those. The Tier 1s invest in sophisticated infrastructure, you know, IMS platforms, servers to support applications there. You know, if I can just kind of shift to Tier 1 carriers for a second, they're very clearly and openly looking at monetizing these IMS platforms, opening and creating this new concepts of cloud network as a platform. So opening what they got to application developers and you know, kind of bringing in over the top players instead of competing with them. Now, if we go back to your original question and Tier 3, it's all a matter of, in my opinion, understanding what applications are available for them, what can they offer. I mean, of course, they understand their market. That we have already established, and Rob covered that. They understand the market, they understand the local needs. This is where they want to play. They want to play locally. But understand what's out there, and it requires quite a bit. It's complex. It's a complex work. It requires quite a bit of research. It requires, you know, us vendors to educate them, to share ideas at events like this on a one-on-one. But it also requires, I'm going to go back to the network, which is my opening theme. It requires the network to be ready to deliver these applications. You can't clog the network, right? And how do you do that? You do it with technologies. So you do it with spectrum-efficient technologies. We talked in another panel a couple days ago about whether LTE Advanced is of interest to the regional operators or not. I think it's of huge interest. I don't think it's just a Tier 1 thing. I think it's of huge interest because of unserved areas that are hungry, or you know, there's the opportunity to provide video there. You know, again, to Rob's point about video. So spectrum efficiency, transmission, devices, those need to be in place. But other than that, I think it's just a matter of learning what's out there and the developing plan.
Right. I mean, those kind of challenges, Rob, I mean, are those challenges that a small carrier, obviously depending on size, can manage? I mean, obviously, like you mentioned during your opening remarks, the thing about cloud is you can bring on different levels of it at a certain time. You don't provide all at one time, you can bring on different levels of it. But is it kind of dependent upon the size of the carrier, what they really want to bring on at certain times? I mean, the rollout across different carriers, and obviously you have the size, but.
Yeah, no, and that's the beauty of the cloud, is that it kind of gets rid of the size issue. Let me give you an example. I've got a college in our area, it could be a high school, but I've got a college, St. Norbert College, went in and talked to them. They have 3 different communication devices that people carry around with them. They carry a pager. The reason they have to carry a pager is because they sometimes work in the basement of the building, and the only thing that reaches down there is a pager. They carry walkie-talkies because their security people want to be able to push a button and have everybody in the area get the message right away, and they can have 15 people show up if they have an issue. And then they carry a cell phone. I have this, it gets a little heavy on your belt. So how are they going to do that? Well, this is an unsolicited plug for Ericsson, but Ericsson has, working with Kodiak, they have a push-to-talk cloud service. So I'm able to take and pay for it on a per subscriber basis. I can subscribe to the idea that now I'm going to offer the ability to have push-to-talk. What does that do? That gets rid of that very bulky pager that they have, not pager, but the very bulky walkie-talkie they have to carry around. Yeah, but you know what? You still have the basements and you still can't get in there, so that's a problem. No, it's not. You put in a small cell, a femtocell, into those bowels of the building, and you're able to give 5 bars of service everywhere on the campus. We've just gotten rid of 2 devices on their hip. Now, do they all have to have a Cellcom phone? Well, we sure would like it. I mean, that'd be terrific. But you know what? We can bring them over slowly. We don't need to hit them over the side of the head with a shovel to get them on our side. The Ericsson solution that they've offered would work on somebody else's piece. Where do we get money? We charge them for the push-to-talk. We put the application on their Verizon phone or their AT&T phone and let it do its thing, but it still comes back and we get revenue from a Verizon phone and an AT&T phone because it's part of the group plan that we have. And ultimately, they might as well move to us because we're the ones providing the service. So the beauty of it is it gives us an opportunity to offer a brand new service, and we do it on an incremental basis. There are other services when you get into rich communication services that again should be able to be purchased on a one-off type basis, and it's probably more 10 or 15 off. But it's not like you have to go out and buy a brand new cord and do it. All you need to do is have a connectivity back to your cloud service provider.
Yeah, it's a nice stickiness aspect too for your own customers. It's obviously they use the service, all the services that they want off of your network, off your device.
Absolutely.
No reason to go anywhere.
And on top of it, then if you're offering that service, they say, well, gosh, what else do you offer?
Yeah.
And it opens the door to brand new things. You can be much more collaborative. Where this particular, by the way, this is not limited here. I can then take it and put it in a hospital. I can put it into any other type of institution where there are people where they have security people or they have janitorial services. Again, this type of thing becomes a very nice add-on for it. But it allows us to do a collaborative sale. We walk in as a business partner with these guys and say, you have a problem, let's talk through that problem and find a solution. And from that, you find another problem they have, and you're able to solve that problem with another service.
Right. So cloud is a gateway drug then for...
Exactly right, yes.
Okay, got it. That sounds good. All right. Well, I guess, Andreea, you guys both kind of talked a little bit about the small cell aspect of this, the ability to use different aspects of the network to really push cloud both in to get access from outside. I guess we talk a little bit about the importance of the changing dynamics of networks right now. I mean, obviously the macro cell has been the traditional way of doing this, but again, going to the small cell really allows carriers, it seems, to really go after enterprises, after campus type locations, and really push cloud services, which seem to really cater to those operations much more specifically. I guess maybe the importance of this evolving network aspect of small cells in enhancing the ability of cloud for rural carriers.
Yeah, so small cells by and large are meant to plug holes,
Yeah.
whether the